Welcome to an episode of the Rogue Treatment Podcast. James,
Harry,
how are you feeling today, mate?
I'm good.
You're in the mood. I don't know what's going on with you today.
I'm in the mood to talk.
Okay. So today we're going to go through a few things that we've been asked from our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
And just generally, we get asked these sort of things all the time. And that's about the fallbacks of our industry. And people ask for our opinions. And so we thought, why not do a podcast on it?
Yeah. This one's going to be interesting because obviously we've got a different take on it. We can talk about what we do at Switch that's a little different, because, this is something that we've tried to do from the outset is try and be different in our industry. We don't want to follow the norms. We are trying to break that mold down. I do think that we are in an industry that is hated. When I say hated, I do not think the average person knows or likes what a physio does, and it's because they don't know.
People like skeptical as well, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
With physio
Well, it's not skeptical. They've been burnt too many times by shit physios.
You're saying the clients or like people in the community thinking of physios or the physios themselves?
Like just generally, and both, all of the above.
Yeah.
All of the above. I think there's just this massive misconception of what physios do. There's a massive misconception of what physios can achieve.
Yeah.
With clients, and a lot of people, and we've seen it in the clinics. How many times have we seen someone go, I've been to 2 or 3 physios before, and then they're scarred from it. They've had bad experiences, and it's terrible to hear that.
And also that then there's a ripple effect to the actual physios themselves. Isn't there?
100%.
Yeah, because then they start believing that same message as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Devaluing themselves.
They're not understanding the value that they can bring to help someone. And I think today, we're obviously going to dive a little bit deeper into it. But yeah, I just think as an allied health profession, not just physios, but a lot of different practitioners across the allied health space, they're not doing a good enough job.
Yeah.
You guys need to do better. And we want to talk about that.
Absolutely. And I think, that sort of, at Switch, that's a bit of our drive as well.
Yeah,
day
absolutely.
in, day out is like how we can be different and how we can sort of buck these fallbacks and the way the industry is going and in terms of trends and things like that, and how we can be different. So it'll be cool to sort of go through some of those with the fallbacks.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because the question started with, what's kind of going on with the industry, and then we thought we could talk about those different kind of things, but then talk about how we tackle that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really important that if we do want to be at the forefront of the industry and be different, that we are actively tackling that.
Yeah.
And
we're open about it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing a podcast on it.
Yeah, 100%. And no one's perfect either, right?
Of course.
And, and I say that to everyone that, walks through the door at Switch is like, this is what we want to do that's different. We're not perfect at it, and it's always going to be changing.
Well, we're going to challenge it, right?
But we got to do something.
Challenge, yeah.
Not that long ago, 10 years ago, physios were just known to put machines on people.
I know.
And it's not that long ago.
Yeah.
At least now we've evolved from that, but there's still negative experience out there.
But
majority of the industry, predominantly, they've gone down another terrible path.
Yeah.
We can talk about the other terrible path,
Yeah.
but at least they're not just putting archaic machines on people anymore, or not as much as before.
Not as much as before. And I think, let's start there, James. I mean, we've been told we see it, and people often ask, why do physios have such a bad name?
Why do physios have a bad name?
Yeah.
Jeez. Let's start with, it's not that they have a bad name, right? Well, no, it is. They have a bad name, okay.
Well,
but they have a bad reputation.
I guess the feeling of having us taking it as a bad name is because, it becomes from the reputation. It's like, I'm going to go to physio because, they're going to just do this and give me an exercise. I'm going to go home. That never fixes it. Or I've been to another physio and didn't fix. It got better and then it came back. So like physio doesn't work, or it's overpriced for what I get when I go to a physio, when I can just go online and find out I can self-diagnose and get a few exercises myself.
Yeah.
Why aren't people going straight away? Oh, I'm gonna go as soon as they have an injury. They're thinking physio. Where is it? Where can I go?
I think there's two aspects to that. One is how physio has been placed in the health space. And the second is the delivery of the service.
Yeah.
So physios are lucky that they align themselves very, very well with doctors, and they edge themselves ahead of our counterparts in the same space, being osteos, massage therapists, EPs, chiros, right?
Yeah.
We edged ourselves ahead because we got in bed with the doctors. Absolutely good. Well done, APA, right? But at the end of the day, that's where it stopped because we didn't improve ourselves on the delivery of the service. So then the second part of that is then we got ourselves in front. So all these people start going to see physios, and physios are maybe, have a better, no, not a better, have a bigger reputation than a chiro or an osteo or something like that. And then, so we got all these people coming to see physios, and then the physios themselves have dropped the ball and provided a shit service.
Yeah.
And they haven't provided a service that helps someone with their outcomes. And a lot of the time, there's this whole debate of, chiro versus physio and all that kind of stuff. And my take on it is that a physio and a chiro, yes, the chiro might do clicking and cracking and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
A physio can do that too.
Yeah.
It's not that that's their main scope of practice, but they can do it.
Yeah.
So why is it different? Why do people go, oh, I can go to the chiro and I get this. I'll go to the physio and I've got no idea what I'm getting. It's because the physio doesn't know how to talk about the service that they're providing, firstly. And secondly, they don't provide an outcome. So whether we like it or not as a physio profession, you can go to the chiro, you get your click, you feel something different, rightly or wrongly, right? And the chiro is then able to tell the client the benefit that they've just provided. The physio goes in, the client goes to see the same physio. Oh, try this, try that. Maybe this exercise will work. Maybe that exercise will work. Here's a list of shit to do when you go home.
Yeah.
And the client's like, what the fuck?
I'm not doing that.
What exactly? I'm not doing that. I go to the chiro
because I don't feel
I
better.
walk out feeling better. I go to the physio. I walk out feeling the same, and they give me a whole list of shit to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's my take on it.
Yeah. With the chiro physio thing, to be honest, if we are often asked, oh, what do you think of chiros? You guys, obviously, there must be a little stigma between you. And to be honest, as long as someone's focused on getting you better to your outcomes, it doesn't really matter.
And I think chiros do that better.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly, how they do it. I don't give a shit how you do it. They know how to talk to their client about the outcome that they're trying to achieve.
We've all seen a client who's seen a chiro and they've said, oh, I go to my chiro to realign my back.
Yeah.
They know that obviously they've been educated, rightly or wrongly, that going to the chiro, the clicking, the adjustments, whatever, has realigned their spine, and then they're good for another 4 weeks.
And the sad part is the chiro industry themselves have had to move away from that. And they're moving more down the path of what physios are trying to do, the rehab type of thing.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, I don't really want to go into that side of it, but it comes down to the efficacy of clicking your back. There is no evidence that it fucking works.
We're not going to go down there. But
not that we'll go down that path.
But at least the clients feel better. They know what they're getting, and they're paying for that service.
Realign my back. I'm going to the chiro to realign my back.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly, it doesn't mean that you're realigning your back, but you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
You know what you're walking out of.
Yeah.
I'm walking out, they've cracked my back, and my back is now realigned.
And to simplify it, really, when you go into physio, you're not sure what you're going to get. Every physio clinic's different. But probably the main thought is that you're going to get exercises.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad. If you think you're going to a physio just to get exercises.
And then if you're thinking you're just going to get exercises, then you probably think, oh, you weigh it up. Is it worth the money? Or let me just look online. Or let me just talk to another friend or a family member that had similar issues. Oh, they did this exercise and it fixed it. Okay, cool. And they just go and do that. You know what I mean?
Well,
So then it's like that completely devalues the service that a physio could give.
absolutely. If you're a physio and your sole purpose is to give your client an exercise to self-manage, you need to listen to what I'm about to say, all right? Because the reality is you are wasting your time. You're wasting your time if you just get that client in, they're paying you a premium, all you're going to do is give them a set of exercises.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, you should not be a physio. We have massage therapists, we have EPs, we have PTs that can do exactly the same thing. Again, are they all got the qualifications or the knowledge that a physio has? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. That's the beauty of online right now.
Yeah.
Anyone can learn anything.
Yeah.
Right? But as physios, we have the responsibility to help our clients move better. A PT can't do that. A massage therapist can't do that. An EP maybe can, to an extent, help their client move better, right? But again, they're not trained that way. EPs aren't trained that way. They're trained in metabolic, kind of changes and
these are the exercises the physio is giving that are from a diagnosis that the physio has found, which is the difference with EP.
Yeah,
but really.
Right. But realistically,
you could probably look up your symptoms online and have some sort of idea 100%. Of what your diagnosis is.
And the sad part is that the physio has given a diagnosis and probably given the same set of exercises that an EP would probably give.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the point in diagnosing?
Exactly.
All right. So for me, this is the number one issue in our industry. We are not providing value. We're not providing value to the client for them to want to come back to a physio.
Yeah.
If you were just giving an exercise that a PT, massage therapists now give exercises, which is probably out of their scope of work, right? But they still fucking do it.
Yeah.
Right. So if that is your position as a physiotherapist, then I'm going to diagnose an injury. Oh, lucky me, I can diagnose, right? But then you diagnose and you give the same shit exercises that all of those others can give. You are not providing service to that client. You are literally just taking their money and pissing it up a wall for them.
Yeah. There you go, guys. It's sad, isn't it, really? But I think you're bang on. Like, I mean, if you're giving exercises, I don't know why you bothered getting whatever you got at school, working your ass off at uni to understand the body, to a doctor's level in a way. And then when you get your clients that walk through the door, you're just giving them a set of exercises. Some people giving like a template of exercises and ticking and crossing the ones to do for now. What a joke.
Yeah.
What a joke.
And there's even apps now that will automate the exercises for you.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did you go to uni for?
I mean,
you need an AI app to automate the exercises for you. And they're useless exercises.
It's really a joke. But then I think like as the physios that they're thinking, well, that's the expectation of a client coming in. So that's just what I'm going to provide.
Well, is it? Does that client come back?
Well, the client doesn't come back but then that also may satisfy the ego.
Because
that's
now
right.
I've self-managed.
Yes. Because it's drummed into physios that get clients to self-manage state, right? But if they're going home with some exercises and they don't come back, it's not because they're doing the exercises and self-managing. It's because you didn't fix them.
Yeah, not only did you not fix them, they're still in pain. So they're going to go look for the next solution.
They're going somewhere else.
And that's where the physio has now given us a bad name.
Yeah.
And then that's when they'll go to the chiro or they'll go to the massage therapist.
You go to the chiro and
or they'll go to the osteo.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. And they, you walk away with a bunch of exercises that you're not going to do. And then because it's now put in your hands to then actually, fix yourself. And they go, well, this physio didn't put their hands on me. I'm still tired. I'm still this, still in pain. I'm going to go see a massage therapist. The massage therapist either gives them exercise as well or not. Or it's like, I'm going to go see the chiro who cracks me and realigns me and I feel better. And I feel better leaving.
Correct. Here's the other issue, though. That we are now in a society where people are paying for an outcome. Yeah. And physio is not providing an outcome.
Yeah.
Right? And anyone who wants to argue at that point in the physio industry, you need to wake up, because I guarantee you that those same physios that will argue, oh, no, they're not paying for an outcome, or it's not about that, it's about self-management. Wake up. We are now in an industry, we're now in a society where you can go online, You can pay an online coach for anything. An online coach to tell you how to rub your hair. An online coach to tell you how to eat. I don't know. There's online coaches for everything.
Yeah.
Right? And there is a whole industry. Instagram has literally born this industry, right? Birthed this industry where you can provide some sort of program or some sort of level of community and some sort of level of accountability, and people will pay anything for that, right? And you go and pay for that, and the whole time, the program's nothing special. The information you can find online, it's rinse and repeat, but what you are paying for is someone telling you what to do.
Yeah.
Not someone saying, oh, here, go and see how you go.
Good luck. Yeah.
Yeah. So physios need to wake up to that.
Yeah.
People need to be told where the next step is. People are looking for an outcome. They're looking for someone to keep them accountable. If you give them a set of exercises and go, oh, come back if you need me, there is zero accountability. There is zero change. Yeah. There is zero implementation because inherently people are lazy. The average person wants to be told what to do. If they weren't told what to do, then we would be able to go off and do it ourselves because I can look on Google and find those same exercises. And I'd, like you said, I put into ChatGPT, these are my symptoms. This is my diagnosis. I then Google what my diagnosis is. I can Google the exercises and I can do it myself.
Yeah.
I don't need a physio to tell me what exercises to do. So if people were doing that, then they wouldn't need a physio. But they're not doing that. That's the thing.
And the reason why they're not doing it now is because there's definitely people have different people to look after you have your accountant that looks after the books and you have your physio, but you want to be able to, I mean, this is where we're going to come into why we're different, is that you want to go to the physio and go, they look after this side. They keep me accountable with this side. I get a lot out of that service. Not like they're going to put more on me because I'm already stressed. Mum and dad are both they're both working. You know, they got kids. They don't have time to spend 10, 15 minutes doing their own exercises every single day. To be fair, there are some people out there doing that. That's great. No, they're still coming to physio as well.
Kept accountable to it.
Yeah.
You know, the physio is then saying, hey, I need you to do this in between sessions. Yeah. And if you've got that buy-in because you can see the outcome, the physio has explained the purpose of doing this. And that client has then gone, oh, I now see the value in doing these exercises. Yeah. I am then going to do that. Yeah. And then in between sessions, I'm putting in the work to help me progress to my outcome. Then, yeah, they will do it.
Absolutely.
But if you just go, here's a set of exercises, see you in a month, no one's fucking doing that.
No. And they're not coming back in a month because they're going to be worse.
Exactly.
Or if not, they're not better.
Because in that time, they've cancelled, gone, these exercises didn't help me. And it's not the exercise didn't help. It's just that they didn't do it. They didn't feel value. Yeah. And then, see you later. Yeah. I'll give you an example. I told you that there's an analogy to this, right? Harry's known as the plumber, okay?
What is going on here?
For his, previous, history of plumbing, okay? But this is the analogy of what physios in our industry are currently doing. Imagine you have a broken pipe, all right? You call the plumber, and the plumber goes, oh, it sounds like you got a broken pipe. There's your diagnosis, right? And the plumber comes out, full van of tools, and goes, hey, thanks for coming. Now you go fix the pipe. You're then paying the plumber to tell you, I've got a broken pipe, even though you already knew you had a fucking broken pipe. The plumber comes with all the tools and goes, Harry, you go fix your own pipe. That's what physios are currently doing.
Yeah.
You're going to, and then they're going, well, why didn't they come back again?
Yeah, exactly.
You like that one, don't you?
I like that one.
Stop being the plumber that doesn't help.
Funny you say that because I remember you talked about I had a little bit of a history as a plumber, but when I was working on the tools, I remember my dad, he was my boss, he would say to me, like sometimes we would be at a job for 15 minutes, but like that person, I was like, how do you work out billing for this, Dad? Like it's 15 minutes, He goes, Harry, we're not selling like the time, we're selling the outcome of now that they can use their taps or their tap's not leaking or they can use their toilet and they've got a party tonight, And I was like, oh, that makes complete sense and that's the difference between, it's the same thing with our in our industry where, and it's one of our big differences, we don't sell physio, we sell outcomes. And that's the key.
And physio is just the modality we help that person.
Right.
And physio has the beauty of utilizing so many different modalities. You can do hands-on. You can give them exercises. You can crack backs if you need to.
Whatever you need to do for that person, though.
Correct.
Right? And that's the difference. We can look up on ChatGPT and find a diagnosis that essentially the physio might give you anyway. You might be on the right track. But the diagnosis itself, we know this, is never it obviously plays into the rehab, but it's never the true cause of it. That comes down to the individual that online can't give you. And I think that's one of our, where the industry gets caught, is like they focus on the diagnosis. My textbook tells me you need to do these 3 exercises for knee pain. Then they're the exercises they give that person, but it doesn't necessarily going to fix them.
Well, it may not work.
It may not work for them.
There is
we have to look
study,
at the person.
Any of those studies that talk about these 3 exercises, they didn't 100% work. There is still a variability. There might be a high correlation that it works, or there might be a high efficacy of it.
Yeah.
But it's never 100%.
Yeah. And then we get bogged down in like the strength part where it's like, well, 3 sets of 10 on this study improved the strength of the knee.
Yeah, cool. Why do power builders have injuries? Bodybuilders have injuries.
Yeah, exactly.
Or powerlifters.
they're strong as hell.
Stronger than anyone else.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the strength. We get so bogged down in that. But that's I guess another rabbit hole. But I think when we now look at what we do differently to try and buck that trend is, providing an overall service. I mean, we often will say if a client comes in asking for exercises because that's what the industry tells them or that's what they're expecting from a physio, we often say, well, we can give you the exercises, but it's actually not going to make you better. If you want to get to whatever that outcome is that they want to get to, then here is a detailed steps to get there. And it's going to take exercises, but that's going to come in the right time. And when it comes to the exercise part, we're going to be talking about improving your movement mechanics, not just the exercise itself, right?
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of what we try to do, right? Yeah. Is that when you look at the overall cause of someone's injury, someone comes in with a shoulder, a neck, a back, whatever that is, you need to then be looking at, and this is the beauty of why we went to uni, why we've spent that time learning about the body, is you need to then learn or understand what it is that's caused that injury. Yeah. So if we're looking at the body head to toe, the shoulder didn't just get sore and painful and you tore the rotator cuff because all of a sudden the shoulder decided it doesn't want to work. Yeah. There's a mechanism to that. There's a backstory that led to that. And I think as practitioners, that's the beauty of what we can do.
That's the creative part, right?
That's the creative part, is we can reverse engineer what we think went wrong there. And then that's what we need to be correcting. Yeah. Not just massage the shoulder and give some internal, external rotation exercises and hope that the rotator cuff gets stronger. Yes, the rotator cuff may need to get stronger because it's torn, it's damaged. I'm not saying not to do that. Yeah. But you're just putting a Band-Aid or you're putting a bit of gaffer tape over a broken pipe. Think about that
concept though, and that happens so often where someone comes in with a rotator cuff tear and at your general physio clinic, you're probably expecting rotator cuff exercise with a band or whatever. That tendon, if it's torn,
let's fuck it even more.
If giving it a
or it's inflamed, then you fuck it more.
What's going on?
No, but if you do, what's it called? Isometric holds, it won't be sore anymore.
It's
cool,
isn't it?
You're just not using the tendon. You're just holding it in one position.
It's what, and they're not going to do it anyway because it'll be sore afterwards.
Exactly.
But it's wild. We look at like, okay, well, for example, if we're using the shoulder and a rotator cuff tear, it's like, well, okay, let's look further. What's happening at your back? What's happening in your lower arm? You're spending all day in a pronated position in sort of a rounded posture, and then you can't open up through your elbow, through your hand. That's going to play a role onto the shoulder, same as your back.
You're getting technical now, H.
Well, no, I'm just trying to give a little bit of an understanding of like, there's way more to just the diagnosis equals these exercises or this. And that's one of our big differences. Like, okay, how can we then unravel that shoulder? Where can we find the 1%ers, the true cause of the problem to take the pressure off that shoulder? Because essentially, like you were saying, that shoulder injury was developing over a long period of time prior to that, the pain starting. It's just now that the shoulder can't cope anymore and the compensations can't cope anymore, that you're getting pain.
And that's a good point, right? And then I think it comes down to, once we've understood that, and we're big at Switch about putting a plan together for that. The hard part is then selling that outcome. Yeah. And I know we hate using the word selling, right? But at the end of the day, we need to. Selling is not a negative word. Selling is purely communication. And I think as an industry, we have lost the ability to communicate. Yeah. And we see this with new grads. We see this with all practitioners, even to an extent, not just physios. EPs are now having that same problem. Massage therapists have had this problem. Podiatrists have had this problem. And the issue becomes is that we need to communicate what we are doing. If we're all in agreement that just giving some random sheet of exercise to tick off doesn't work, and you can argue that it does, good luck to you, all right? But we know that doesn't work. So then we need to then look at the holistic cause of this problem. So then we put together a plan of how we're going to fix this. Yeah. We put together a plan of whether it's hands-on treatment, whether it's, we talk a lot about movement patterns and correcting the body's natural alignments. And then, obviously then how we then return to the activities that we want to get to, right? That's ultimately why the client came in. They didn't come in just going, I've got shoulder pain. They've come in going, I've got shoulder pain and I want to be able to do this, right? Because they can't do it. They've come in to you, not because they've got shoulder pains, because they can't do something. Yeah. Because if they could do something, then they don't need to see you. They can't do something, and that's affecting and impacting their life. It's having a detrimental effect to their mood, their personality. It's having a detrimental effect to maybe their social, interactions with people, whatever that is, right? That's the reason they came in. So once we understand that as practitioners, our job is to get them to there. If we're not getting them to that outcome, you're not doing your job. And that's the problem with the industry currently. Yeah. You're not doing your job, you're fucking around, and then you're giving us all a bad name.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like a vicious cycle, right? Because then if the physio, I think we're not setting physios up well enough and equipping them enough. For when they start in front of a client, because when the client comes in and says, I'm looking for exercises, out of a fear of rejection, most physios are just going to give them exercises and then walk out going, I did the right thing by that client. But that is not the right thing.
Yeah. We've been taught at uni. And what was the word that I heard the other day? We were doing some interviews and it was something along the lines of, I want to give, we need to empower the clients to self-manage. Yeah. And I was like, cool, what does that mean? To empower the client to self-manage? It's like, well, they don't want to be reliant on physio. Okay, cool. So if you don't want someone to be reliant on you, on physio, EP, whatever it is, podiatry, then don't you need to get them to where they want to be? Because if you kind of just patch them up, then they need to come back again because the pain's going to come back. So then they are relying on you. You've not done your job because you're too scared to sell to them. You're too scared to communicate to them.
To have that difficult conversation.
Yeah. Everyone then sort of, I want to be evidence-based practice. Has anyone actually looked at the time frame any of those studies have? None of those time frames go, let's give you a set of exercises and see how you go in 6 months, 12 months, 13 months, 3-year follow-up. There's a program to that. Do these exercises and then if they work, we'll change. And whatever that program of that thing is. But we take that one little bit of that study and go, they just gave these exercises. That should work. No, there was follow-up over a period of time in that study. Some of them goes for fucking years. Yeah? But for some reason, we start to think, we don't need to see them for years. I'm not saying you do, but there's a process to recovery. It's not a set and forget. And once we know that there's a process to recovery, it then becomes the communication of that. And if you don't have the skills to communicate, hey, I need to really help you here. You want to be able to, go running with your mates, or, go back to the gym and lift heavier. There's a process to that. And this is going to take time. If you don't know how to communicate that process, if you don't know how to communicate to the client that this takes time, then it's easy just to give a sheet of exercises and avoid the fear of rejection. You're being soft. And I completely understand that they're not trained on that. I completely understand that.
Yeah, they're not set up for it.
University isn't the place to teach that.
Yeah.
But then don't come out of uni and don't practice like that, because you're not serving your client. You're actually doing them a disservice, because you're not fixing the problem. The problem continues. They then get more pain. They get other injuries elsewhere because you haven't fixed the shoulder with your shitty exercises. So then they get tennis elbow.
Yeah.
And then the tennis elbow leads to a sore wrist. And then apparently they've got carpal tunnel syndrome. No, they don't have carpal tunnel syndrome. It started with the shoulder that you didn't fix. And then you want to talk about not being reliant on physios. If you fix the shoulder, they wouldn't have the other two injuries.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
That was a long rant.
No, that's good. He's firing up. He's warming up. I think you mentioned about the communication part, and I think I don't want to dive into the reason why that's an issue, because obviously, the physios now have sort of gone through uni during COVID, and so they were at home, and maybe communication's even less. Plus this whole
Yeah, look, we could talk about the current cohort, but I don't know. That's something that's been going on for a while.
But it's like
you're trying to tell me all the guys that you graduated with were able to communicate as well?
The ATAR was a little bit less than what it is now.
So you think they were able to communicate?
I definitely think that plays into it.
I don't know.
We've
had a few of your friends work with us, and I don't know about that, mate.
It's true, actually. It's true. But look, I think, the communication part, but it's like having that difficult conversation when you're a physio. You want to be like, you're in the room with someone, you want to be like validated, they want to be confident, they want to have this aura about them or whatever. This sort of like, I'm the physio, look at me sort of thing. So then they will we will just form to whatever the client's looking for. We don't want to upset the client. Because at the end of the day, having that difficult conversation about, hey, the exercises aren't going to get you better. This is where you want to get to. I reverse engineered that. You reverse engineer that with steps to get there. Here's your plan. You're probably thinking, this is a lot longer than I was expecting, but this is the answer for you to keep it off long term, so that then potentially you can self-manage. Because if I give you exercises to self-manage right now, you're going to just call me the shit physio because you're not going to get better. Right. So then I think with how we try to curve that is we have to do a lot of training. Yeah. We do a lot of training.
100%. You know,
on these sorts of topics, and we call a spade a spade. Like, we're calling this out.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, if you don't call this out, then it's just going to keep happening. And
I'm not calling this out because we just want to talk shit on a podcast. I want to call this out because I'm disappointed with that's how the industry's gone. And like we said at the start of the podcast, is we've always then tried to make sure that we're then doing what we can to fix that. And again, no one's perfect, and I'm not saying what we do to fix that is the best. But if we're going to call this out, we have a solution. We do train our staff. We do go through this. We do work on communication. We do work on, looking at the body holistically. We do work on, how can we then
find the true cause of the issue.
Exactly right. Yeah. So you're not just, massaging the shoulder and giving external rotation exercises. Like, there is a method to this that can work to achieve better outcomes for your clients.
Yeah.
They're paying for our service. If you're not giving them the best possible, outcome and treatment that you can, do not accept money. Just go do bulk billing. All right? You can't charge for a service and not give the best possible solution, and then give them the training to the practitioners that they need.
And with that training, we look at lots of different things. We look at communication. We look at our sort of unique concepts as well, which we won't go into too much in detail, but we look at how the body has sort of evolved and what sort of alignment issues there are. We look at breathing.
The body hasn't evolved. That's how we look at the body has evolved.
Well, their body in front of us has evolved.
Oh, okay. Now I'm with you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. The body in front of us has evolved.
Yeah.
You could have the same injury to the next 10 people, right? But each body is different. They've had a different...
Oh, yeah, the cause that got them to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I like to use the analogy of that the injury has told us a story. But the body's not talking to you.
Yeah.
Body's not actively writing a book on the story. Our job as a physio is to kind of work out what that story is. And
the creative side, right?
The creative side.
Which is like that exploration as a practitioner is that's the drive. That's where the creative part of the practitioner can come out, as opposed to just being, I'm a physio, this is what I do. These are 3 exercises I give for knee pain.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We do a lot of onboarding, and it's not just training on our hands-on skills, which we focus on a lot. It's not just on the exercise or the movement patterns and things like that, but it's also on the communication part and the education and tackling those difficult conversations. And then on top of that, like, it's important that then while these are happening in real time, that we support our staff as well. So, each staff member is assigned a mentor, and I think that's really important in going through these experiences. When a staff member will say, hey, I went through this client came in asking for exercises, and I thought this was an opportunity to then, explain to them where, how our exercises aren't going to help, and what they need to do and what the true cause of the problem is, and this is how I went about it. It worked or it didn't work, and then if it didn't, then why didn't it work? And then those experiences make that physio better and better and better and better, because they're going to help get more people to outcomes.
I agree, and it kind of surprises me that every time, we do an interview, especially someone that's maybe like 1 year out or 2 years out, and it surprises me that they're working in a clinic, and there's someone super experienced there, whether it be the owner of the business or whether it be another physio that might have 5-6 years experience, and I'm sure on some level that those practitioners, whether it be the owner or someone with 5 years, 6 years experience, will happily answer any questions, right? I'm not saying that they're not happy to answer any questions, but I just find it really weird that there isn't any structured time around trying to help a new grad in particular. So these guys come out 1 or 2 years, and they're coming to us going, I'm looking for mentorship. I'm looking for someone to teach me what to do. You're already 1 year out. Like, the first year is where you learn the most, and you've just literally been sitting in a room treating 30, 40 clients, 50 clients, who knows how many clients you're treating, and got no idea what to do. And then you're now looking for mentorship a year, 2 years down, and it's never too late. I just think it's really sad that there is someone already there with shitloads of experience, and they don't have any structured mentoring time. Why hire a new grad? I don't understand that.
And because then, we get that a lot, and I think it's in our best interest to give them the mentorship and the guidance and the support, right? But it's definitely a problem in the industry where we're just expecting so much of them and then not giving them the support, and then it's set up to failure. And then we run into this problem, which we've been asked to comment on as well, James, is the burnout.
Yeah.
The burnout, we hear it all the time, from practitioners themselves and people that can see it from the outside. And at the end of the day, we're in a service-based industry. You need to be at work. We can't do this at home.
Yeah, sorry.
It's like your friends.
Yeah.
We have set hours, and we're a service-based industry. It's time for money. So the more clients you see, the better we're going to be, or more, better you're looking after, more experience you are, better you're looking after your clients. The more clients you're going to see, the busier you're going to be, and then the more likelihood that you're going to get to a point and go, I feel like I'm burning out, or how is this sustainable?
Yeah, I think there's multiple aspects to that, right? I'm going to take two sides here, all right? Because I see it from both ends. I see it and I understand it from the practitioner side, but I'm not sympathetic with it. And then I see it from the business owner's side, and I also think that they should be doing more.
That's right.
Right? From the practitioner's side, I don't think they realize what they got themselves into. When they decided that they were going to go to uni and be a physio, I don't think they fully understood what that was, right? And I'm not saying that that's completely their fault, right? It's no one's fault, because I don't think I knew what I was getting myself into when I decided to do physio either, right? But the reality is, if you want to be a private practice physio, you need to see clients. We don't get paid unless we see clients. It's plain and simple, yeah? And the demand for salary is directly related to your demand as a physio. If you're a good physio and you see lots of clients, because clients love you because you're getting them outcomes, there's the key. They're not just coming to see you
physio
because
the outcomes,
exactly. You will get busy because you're getting people better. They feel good. They want to see you.
They're telling their friends. They're all getting better.
100%.
Building a community.
That is directly related to your ability to earn money.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't think that they understood that or knew that when they were getting into the industry. I'll argue this point. I've said this on the podcast before. I do not see value in physiotherapy being a 4-year university degree.
Yeah.
I really think there should be some sort of apprenticeship. I think there
Just
should be less time.
On record, that was my idea of apprenticeship. Oh.
Well, we've talked about it before.
Just checking.
Hey, listen.
We'll have to roll back the tapes here.
Maybe roll back the tapes. But I agree with this. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it too. But that's okay.
It's okay.
I just don't think that they should be put into a lab and put, maybe for the first couple of years, I get it. You need to learn anatomy. You need to learn, the systems of the body. I'm not against that. Right. But I just think the 20, 25 weeks of work experience that they do, where majority of that is in hospitals too.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of placement in private practice.
If you're doing it in private practice, you're not actively doing the work anyway.
You're not actively doing the work.
It's a private clinic. They're not going to pay to see.
Exactly right. Exactly right. I think there needs to be some sort of compromise, and I get that you're dealing with people's health. So it's not like you can just, go off and treat. But we have this acceptance of physio aides, who literally just do like a TAFE course and can treat people. Yes, it's under the supervision of a physio, but for some reason we don't allow physio students to do something the same. And I think if we had something like that, some sort of apprenticeship, where they understood the mechanics of the body, but then were able to get, if you want to be a private practice physio, that is, if you want to work in the hospitals, I think the system's fine.
Yeah.
Right. But if you want to be a private practice physio, you should not be wasting 4 years in a classroom, right? And then getting out and going, what the fuck did I just sign up for? Yeah. And I think so when it comes back to that, I think that that's part of the problem that comes with burnout, and we see it so many times with new grads, is that they didn't know what they signed up for. Right. And then I think once they come to terms with what they signed up for, then there isn't a clear path for the future. Right. They're like, if you're in a clinic that is, the owners run the clinic for 20, 30 years and, or even 10, 15 years, there isn't a career progression there in our industry. A lot of the clinics are, mum and pop clinics, which is cool. That's what's built our private practice industry. But if there isn't a clear progression there of becoming, you could probably become a senior physio, but, is there management opportunities? Is there educational opportunities to then teach the next generation? Is there a pathway to business ownership? A lot of the time people don't necessarily want to have to just go branch off themselves and start from scratch. Yeah. And that isn't a clear pathway in our industry, which leads to burnout, because you're like, what the fuck am I going to do for the next 30, 40 years of my life? Just sit here and treat. And I understand that is an issue.
There's no purpose. Yeah. It's definitely a question we've been asked a lot is about, the career progression, because seemingly from the outside, it looks like, well, once you've done your 4 years, if we use a physio as an example, once you've done 4 years at uni, you're a physio, and then that's it. Until you either go into business ownership, which you're probably going to burn out quicker.
Yeah, because there's more work to do. You're
and then the
realization seeing the clinics for the clients for someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
You then got to go see the clients yourself.
Exactly. But yeah, like you say, they first have that realization of like, oh my gosh, I've got to see all these clients and blah blah, and then it's like, I haven't been doing this. I've been going to uni for 4 hours a day for 4 days a week, and then I've been going to the beach, or I've been studying and doing what I want, and then it's like, now I've got to have a full-time job, and I've got to be on all the time, and I'm being tested all the time. There's a little bit of pressure on me as well, maybe, pressure from within, pressure from out. So I think, and then obviously the career progression. That's why I think we've obviously had to build into how we look after our staff is with clear progression steps, career progression. And, it really obviously depends on the staff member themselves in terms of what their actual goals are. Yeah. Right? Because then everyone's career progression is differently. Some people don't want to do business ownership, but some want to have aspirations in education or whatever it might be. Or some people are happy seeing the clients. Yeah. And that's all they want to do. They want to become a senior physio from being a junior, and that's really it.
Yeah. And that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's nothing wrong with that either. People. Yeah. 100%. But I think on some level, we really need to be putting that message across of what you're getting yourself into as an allied health practitioner. This isn't just physios. It's the same for EPs. It's the same for pods and massage therapists and chiros and stuff like that. It's like, you really need to understand what it takes to be that practitioner, and then if you want to be good at your job, because I'm sure everyone does, no one wants to be shit at what they do, then there is a certain expectation, a certain level that needs to get there. Sorry, go.
No, I was going to say, and it is, so, I mean, if you're going to talk about what we do a little bit more, but start of every year we sit down as a big group and we go through the business goals, the company goals and things like that for the year. Then you sit down with your mentor and you go through what your goals are. And then, we look at just for that year, the goals for that year, we look at the goals for your 5-year plan, and then we build out just like when someone comes in for an injury, they come in with this diagnosis, they want to get there, well, let's reverse engineer how the steps to get there. It's the same thing where you've come in as a new grad, or you come in as a 2nd or 3rd year and you want to be a business owner. Well, here are the steps to get there, and here underneath that, just like an injury, it's like, oh, you're going to have to do this exercise, you're going to have to do this session, you're going to have to do this. It's like, well, you're going to have to do this, get into this position before you get into management. You're going to have to do this training. You're going to have to show us this, show us that. So I think that helps drive staff. And then going back to the burnout, that then helps with the purpose of why I'm doing what I'm doing today.
Yeah, the burnout occurs because you don't know where
there's no direction,
going.
Right?
It just feels like you're on the hamster wheel, just going, right. And there's no outcome. There's no change. There's no...
Yeah, and also the support, like we were talking about. You can be... I shouldn't say a lonely place, because I'm definitely not lonely when I'm in my treatment room. But when you're on your own, you're your own practitioner. And you've got a team, but at the end of the day in the room, it's just you and the client. Yeah. And that can sort of...
It's a difficult job.
Build into the burnout as 100%.
Well. 100%. It's a difficult job. You're dealing with other people's problems all day, every day.
Yeah.
It's interesting you bring that up. It's like, you don't feel lonely because you've found a comfort in how to manage that and how to deal with that, because it's not just, the negativity of it is, oh, I'm dealing with other people's problems all day. The positivity of it is I get to help people every day.
To change that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that unless you have that viewpoint of your own positive viewpoint of it, if you're literally going, I got to see 10 clients today, and
this person's complaining about this, or
you're gonna fucking hate your life.
Yeah,
and they probably didn't understand that that's what the job entails.
Yeah.
You know, that's the job you signed up for. That's the job you went and paid 80 grand for, you know, in your HEX debt, whatever it is these days, and spent 4 years of your life. Granted, it was only 4 hours a day and you spent half the time at the beach, but you still spent 4 years of your life doing that. Yeah, and then you then get into the treatment room and you're like, oh, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But if you then look at it as, I get to help people. I'm not in there alone on myself. I have a good team around me. I have a good culture that I come to work with. And this comes to the second point I made with the owners of the business and how the business can create, you know, some or prevent some sort of level of burnout is you gotta, because we're dealing with other people's problems, you gotta then have a community or an energy in that clinic, an environment. You know, so many people, and we hear this so many times when people come to interviews, like, oh yeah, everyone was in their room and no one talked to each other. It's like, what the fuck? What do you mean no one talked to each other? Like, are we that egotistic as physios that we don't even want to talk to the guy that's in the room next to us because he might steal my client? Yeah. Like, what the hell? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, there is zero evidence. Yeah. There is question me or don't like my methods. There is zero evidence. We are human beings. We are community animals. We are herds, right? If you want to help your clients better, create a community within your clinic. Yeah. Create some sort of energy, some sort of vibe. Don't make it so sterile. Don't make it so fucking boring when you walk through the door.
Well, it's one of those. It's the key that we're constantly looking at is like, you got to love coming to work. And then how can we create that environment so you do like coming to work? You look forward to seeing those 10, 15 clients, whatever it is, right? You're looking forward to seeing them. You see your friends.
When you love coming to work, those clients will love coming as well.
That's right.
Oh, but sorry, we don't want them to come because, you know, they've got to self-manage.
Yeah. No, don't enjoy it too much.
Coming. They want to come to a place that's energetic. They want to come to a place that they feel better. Create that for your fucking clients at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And it shouldn't feel like this. Like, it shouldn't feel like coming to work, and it shouldn't feel like you should be coming to think, well, I'm with the intention of like, well, I'm going to help 10 people along their path. I'm part of their journey, you know. And I think touching on the atmosphere, the environment part, we have our own systems around creating that and the process around creating that, because as you say, like that helps the client themselves when they come in. If they feel comfortable, then they're going to be more open to telling you what they really think or how things are actually going, and maybe parts of their life that they weren't going to disclose to the clinical physios.
100%. But here's the thing: if you want to talk about evidence-based practice, there is so much evidence that talks about, and this is probably more across the psychology space than the physio space, where there is so much evidence that talks about psychologists that are clinical, that have zero empathy, have zero, guess, vibe within their clinic and warmth. Yeah. Their clients have less clinical outcomes than the clinician that creates a warm environment, has an energetic feel to themselves, has good empathy.
Yeah, that's wild.
The method of treatment doesn't change. It's the feeling you're giving your client.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not all about voodoo and woohoo kind of shit, but if you have... Oh, I love it. But if you create an environment that your clients enjoy coming to, right, then that is going to help them with their recovery. Is it going to magically get rid of their pain? No. But they're going to be more invested in their health. Yeah. They're going to be more invested in their recovery.
And then they're not coming for the knee pain. They're coming for the experience.
Correct.
And obviously the outcome that comes with that.
100%.
But they know that by going there, they're going to feel better, and they're going to feel like they've been heard. They're going to feel like they're walking in, you know, I mean, we talk about trying to make it like a home. You know, feel like it's not, I'm going to get my physio done. I don't even know my physio's name. They do this stuff on my knee. They tell me to do these exercises and I leave.
Sad.
So sad. And that was one thing. Another thing that we've been asked to mention is that clinical side of physio practices. It's that you walk in, it's cold, you sit in a plastic chair, you're not sure. Well, first of all, you're not sure to sit down or not. You walk up to the receptionist, you look at their head, the top of their head, because they're not even acknowledging you.
They may as well be in hazmat suits.
And they're like, "What do you want?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm Harry. I'm here for an appointment." They're like, "All right, I'll sit down."
Yeah,
you know?
hazmat suits with N95 masks.
Here's some paperwork. Go
COVID
fill
was
that out.
5
Yeah,
years
yeah. I know exactly COVID, but put your mask on. But whereas we try to be completely different. When someone walks in, if we haven't opened the door for them, well then, like, we've missed that opportunity. But then the next point is someone's got to be there welcoming them, pouring them tea,
a little bit of hospitality.
making them feel good, you know. But it's because it comes from a place of the practitioners want to do that. Yeah. And the staff, I should say, wanted to do that. We've got front of staff team.
If you're invested in that person's health,
you're
want invested in helping them achieve an outcome, then you'll do what it takes to not just put some hands on and give them exercises. You'll do what it takes to make them feel welcome, make them feel good about themselves, make them like work towards getting the outcome that they've given you the key to help them. They've imparted that, like they've literally shared that with you. And then you go and shit on that because you just give them some shit exercises. You tell them to come back in a month. You don't help them. They're still in pain. You then have a cold clinic with the receptionist wearing a hazmat suit. Like, what are you doing? And then going, where are all the clients? I need more clients.
Yeah,
you know?
I want a pay rise.
I want a pay rise.
I'm burning out too.
I want a pay rise. I'm burning out and I see 3 clients a day.
Yeah, I'm burning out because I don't like my job. I'm seeing too many people and, I want more money. Yeah. But like... it's wild. I mean, we talk about that front room as the first treatment room. We often see our front of staff team sitting down with clients, before they go in and getting them, sharing a cup of tea and having a laugh. And it's that investment into someone's journey that helps helps them get to their outcomes, but also helps the practitioner get them to their outcomes. And then creates an environment that everyone wants to be in. I want to go out the front because they're talking, they're having a laugh and a joke and whatever. And if everyone, then the burnout isn't so much of a front of mind thing.
No, it won't be. It won't be if you're enjoying on what you're doing.
Being there, yeah.
Yeah. If every half hour, every 45 minutes, however long you see your clients, is another opportunity to help someone and you're laughing about it, you're having a good time. Burnout doesn't exist.
Yeah. And we have a mantra called the gas.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah? I know it. Do you know it?
Give a shit, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it stands for. I mean, it's all about giving a shit to your teammates, giving a shit to the client in front of you, and going that, not walking past someone that you don't know if they're sitting in reception, making sure you give a shit, you say hello. Giving them a call to check in and see how they're going. Because we give a shit about getting them from where they came in to getting them to their outcome. Then we celebrate that. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. I think like it's funny you call it a mantra, right? Because it is. It is something that you need to be thinking about. You need to be focused on. And it's so simple, actually giving a shit about the person that is trusted you with their problem and their injury. And then if you don't give a shit, what are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think how many interviews have we done, and when you ask that person, well, why did you become a physio? I want to help people. Okay, you want to help people, then you don't give a shit? What help are you giving them?
Yeah, that's right.
And it's pretty important that is something that as an industry, I think we've lost.
Definitely.
Where, I think doctors drill that into their at university, they drill that into their doctors that and I'm not saying doctors do this well, but there is a mantra for doctors of like helping people, right? I don't remember that getting drilled into me as a physio or as an allied health practitioner. I'm not saying it needs to be, but that's the outcome that the client is expecting, that they're imparting on you that they need help. If you don't give a shit, you're not going to achieve that. Yeah. It's plain and simple.
Yeah. I mean, something else we've been asked to comment on was like that churn and burn. And I think the churn and burn
of
clients. Well, I guess the physios too, but
we kind of talked about the physios, but
churn and burn of like that stigma around physios as well. I guess it's like, I'll go to the physio, they just tell me to come back when there's no direction. We spoke about how it's really important that a client has a direction, has their plan reverse engineered, right? But I think the churn and burn side also comes from just giving people exercises and just not coming back, not having like a clear plan.
I think the churn and burn, like
how are you going to create an environment? How are you going to create that atmosphere that we spoke about if you're not going on a journey with your clients?
You're not invested in helping them
and giving a shit, right?
Yeah. If you're not invested in that, and what I mean by invested in that is like you need to be doing whatever you can or working or whatever you can to get that outcome for them, right? That's the investment that as a practitioner I need to then do for my client. So if you're not invested in getting that outcome and you're just process driven, like a robot, X injury equals Y exercises, like that's where the burnout, the churn and burn of the client comes from, and here's a news flash, that client's gone to the physio down the road.
Yeah.
Right? Or the massage therapist down the road. Maybe not be the physio down the road, and we've done the research on this, of not only when clients come to see us, majority of them have seen previous practitioners before. And I can guarantee you, if we're not providing that value, if we're not providing, the outcome for them, then when they cancel on us, they're doing the same thing too. But we can sit there as practitioners and go, oh, they just weren't a good client, or they didn't want to listen to me, or they weren't invested in their health. That's all bullshit for you fucked up. You didn't do a good enough job of convincing that client that you can help them. Don't blame them. Which comes back to that,
the communication part.
100%.
The self-doubt.
You've burnt that client. That's now why they hate physio. That's why they've gone to the chiro or the osteo. And I'm not saying that they're going to do anything different or better or anything like that. You, as the practitioner, burnt your client. You've now left a bad name for physiotherapy because you didn't do the work to help that person. You didn't do the work to get them to the outcome that they wanted.
Yeah, and like you just mentioned there, that's the problem though. It does put a dampener on the industry then, because if they then go to the massage therapist, they go to the massage therapist and they tell all their friends that physio doesn't work.
Exactly.
And that's not just that practitioner, that's the industry doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas if we got them to their outcomes and we just focused on that, maybe we had to have that difficult conversation at the start that the 3 exercises for the knee is not going to work. And we got them to their outcome. And then they left and they're talking to all their friends and family and saying, physio's the best, got me to here, I'm back doing this, I'm doing more than what I was expecting. When I go there, I feel great, I know all the staff, it's like a home. That's what we want the industry to look like.
100%. I'd like the industry to be based on achieving outcomes, not, if your client's leaving a review going, oh, Harry is the best, hands-on treatment practitioner I've ever seen, you've done something wrong. If the clients are going, I love coming to Switch, I love seeing Harry, Shani's amazing, Coco's not my physio, but she's so exciting to, in a vibe in the clinic. They're not leaving a review just because they feel, good about themselves. Leaving a review because you've helped them, and then that's their memory of how you helped them.
Yeah.
The memory is that I love going to that place. They helped me. I can now do X, Y, and Z. Not, oh, he was good at putting needles in my back. Like, what outcome measure is that?
Pretty good at that too, though.
Are you?
Gotta check my reviews now.
Very good.
Yeah, look, it's there are a list of things we often get asked, and we're definitely not perfect. We mentioned that at the start,
no, of course not.
We are trying to. If we aren't brave enough to challenge the norm, then who is?
Yeah.
And we're just gonna conform to this. Yeah. This stigma around the industry, and it's just not going to improve.
Yeah, there's no point. There's no point in doing that. There's plenty of opportunity there to just be another turn and burn clinic, and we're not about that.
that is the main list of things that I had there.
Yeah, awesome.
In terms of
we got a lot of questions here.
I know
that we got through.
Yeah, look, it's definitely the drive in you and I that keeps us going every day, and to try not just to we're trying to buck these trends, every single day. How can we be better? And it's not so much when we're looking at other clinics, we're looking at the expectation of what to expect when you go into a physio clinic. We're using that information going, okay, well, that's not how we want to do it.
Yeah.
How can we be better?
Exactly.
And how can we give our staff better careers? How can we give a client a better experience? And, each day we continue to work on that, get better and better.
That's what drives us.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks for listening.
That was a big podcast.
James, before we go, I want to ask you one quick sporting question.
Oh, jeez. No, I don't want to answer this.
Cut. No.
Cut.
No, we're not letting him go yet. He knows what's coming.
Oh, here we go.
Is it more hurtful?
This wasn't on our
it's not on the agenda. I purposely left it off the agenda.
Can't
you know
answer.
what? Is it more hurtful watching the demise of Manchester United and, the fall from the perch?
Yeah.
Or than actually seeing Liverpool win the Premier League, regain their spot on the perch? Please comment.
You tell me. You went through that as a Liverpool. You guys didn't win much for 30 years.
Don't do that.
So tell me what that feels like, and then I don't know. I'll just say,
I forgot.
We're still in the midst of it, so I can't really comment.
To be fair, I forgot. You're in it. How do you feel? What's worse? I mean, if you want to ask me right now, I'm getting just as much joy out of Liverpool winning the Premier League, back on the perch. Everyone wants to come to Liverpool. Everyone's talking about Liverpool. Yeah. 1.5 million people in the parade. Mate, it's sensational. I'm enjoying that just as much as I'm watching Man United demise. And
that's good. That's sad that's what you're worried about. For me, it's part of sports. There's peaks and troughs, and eventually we'll be back on the perch. It's all good.
That's lower than a trough. It's I don't know what's going on there.
We'll be back on that perch eventually.
I'll be worried about the championship if I was you for next year.
So be it.
Do you feel that you do you keep your manager, or do you?
Yeah, you got to give him some time.
Well, what's the answer then?
The answer is that.
All jokes aside.
Oh fuck! I don't know the answer, but you got to give him the answer. He's got to give him time.
Oh, yeah, what's the answer at Manchester United at the moment?
Mate, I've got no idea. But I can tell you this: there's obviously lots of problems there. You got to give someone a chance to fix it. I don't think they gave Ten Hag the chance to fix it. Also, he didn't have the ability to fix it. They didn't let Mourinho fix it. They didn't let Ralph Rangnick fix it. So they got to let him fix it. If not, then it's going to be the same.
Yeah, you mentioned when Liverpool were in a little bit of a trough, probably.
Little bit of a trough for 30 years.
Anyway, not 30 years. We won European Cups anyway. Anyway, at that time,
we've won cups too. What the fuck are you saying there? If that's the measure, we're fine.
What do you mean? You're far from fine. You can't even win a second grade European Cup.
If the measure is
against Tottenham,
we're
you
fine.
guys anyway, both relegation battle. But look,
we've won FA Cup.
What I was going to say was, like, in that time, I think the first part was actually like playing for the shirt again. Plus, start playing some kids.
What, they didn't play for the shirt for 30 years?
Yeah, when they were. But I'm just saying, I think Manchester United needs to start doing that. Like, they need to get rid of these guys that just worried about themselves and just start playing kids, and then just effort. If 100%. The effort's there and they lose, who cares? But at least the effort's there.
100%. And I think
we bought Andy Carroll and started knocking it long.
Anything for some effort.
It was terrible. Yeah, but a couple of good moments.
Yeah, look, that's I don't know. I've got no idea what's happening in the background. Yeah. But yeah, I think that needs to be fixed.
There you go.
All
right. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.